Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. This year, as we've been doing pretty much every year since the show's been on the air, is our year-end show. So we don't have a specific topic, but if you have any general questions you'd like to get in, the phone number's on your screen. Give us a call at 843-848-8080, and we'll be happy to answer your questions for you here today. Here on our panel to answer any questions, all from the Maguire Law Firm today, is Ian Maguire.
Good to see you,
also,
Dave.
Brittany Jones, and down at the end is Tiffany Buffkin. So we appreciate the staff of Maguire Law, not the staff, but the attorneys from the Maguire Law Firm being here today to help us out. Before we get any further, I did want to take just a second to thank everybody behind the scenes that make this show happen. So thanks to Hunter, to Scott, to Eric, Lily, Erica, everybody here at WMBF News that's helped us out and helps us out every week. And Ian, speaking of which, it's been, we've never done like an anniversary show, but it's been 15 plus years that you've been here doing this show. I guess I could say we've been here since I was the host since the very beginning.
And it's been a lot of fun, and something at the time was very new. I remember when it started, we said, we can't do this live. We can't, you know, we can't give advice on the air, and and so we actually, I think one week we tried to do a taped show and then have calls, even emailed or whatever, and we said, no, that's ridiculous. So we did go live, and we eventually convinced other attorneys to come on and do it live, and it's been really a great experience and a great relationship with WMBF over these years, and we really enjoy doing it, don't we?
Yeah.
So and hopefully we'll keep doing it for a long time, because it's a great way to interact with the community and to share information regarding, we're always careful, we can't technically give advice over the air, and it seems like a technicality, but we can share information, and that's really what we're doing. And we always tell people if they have a significant issue, they should all sit down with an attorney and do that. But sometime we can, the show helps, I think, point people in the right direction, at least in regards to their case or the situation that they're in.
Nice to get other attorneys.
Yeah, I would be at the grocery store. I had been on the radio for 20 plus years. I'd be at the grocery store and somebody come up to me and say, aren't you on the television with the lawyer show? And they'd start asking me legal questions. And sometimes I'd give them advice, but this was before, a long time ago.
Well, after 15 years, you probably can answer a lot of those questions, I would think. Right?
Speaking of going back in history, the Maguire Law Firm has been around for a while. I mean, when you were just starting out here in the Myrtle Beach area, did you think that your practice would grow as much as it has this day?
No, and I feel like it's grown with the community, right? So as Myrtle Beach has grown and changed, I think our firm has been here through that, and I'm blessed with some of the best attorneys anybody could have the privilege of working with. I'm not just saying that because they're here. I really believe that. And of course, Mike Smith's not with us today. He's actually back at the office working. So, he's been with us since January 1st of this year. And as you know, Mike did defense work. We'd be across the aisle from him during in trials and everything over a 25-year period for me. And he's a fantastic attorney, and so he came to work with us, and that's been just a fun experience, hasn't it?
And such a good transition, too. I think Mike had such an easy time transitioning to the plaintiff side, because he just has such a good heart, and he's a good person. But it's been nice to have someone who is seasoned and experienced starting out, even though he's new with the firm. It's nice that he knows, the ins and outs of the courtroom.
And I think he'd say it's exciting for him because it's so new and different, and he really loves dealing and representing people instead of the insurance companies. And I know he enjoyed his time doing the insurance work, but I think this has been really great for him, and it certainly has been great for us.
And speaking of growth, we've just opened our Florence office as well, so that's exciting, kind of getting that off the ground, and having people there to be able to kind of expand our reach and help people in that area as well.
And when we talk about growth, certainly Florence is growing, and, it's a burgeoning community, and we're really and our show does reach Florence as well, so it made a lot of sense to do that. It's something we've been talking about for a long time, and we finally in 2025 it's happened, and we're really excited about that.
Since this is our end of the year show, and since we're going back in time, let's go ahead and find out a little bit more about everything. What made you all decide to become attorneys?
It's a great question.
So I just always was very interested in the law. I enjoyed, civics classes and any class where I got to learn about the Constitution or the evolution of our legal system. I always found that very interesting, and I really wanted to help people. So that's why I decided to go to law school. It's actually funny because growing up, everybody would say, Tiffany, you like to argue, you need to go to law school. And then whenever I was in law school, our professors are like, actually, like 90% of the legal profession is getting along with people. And you don't actually argue that much. Mediation is a big tool that is a very successful tool that we do in South Carolina a lot. But that was my main purpose, is I just wanted to be able to help people, and I enjoyed the law.
Yeah.
And I must say that, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
when you mentioned attorneys, and they're a small minority of attorneys that give the profession sort of a bad name, and maybe sometimes deservedly so for their actions, but the majority of the attorneys that we are working with and against are really, hardworking, zealously representing their clients, and are good people. So it's really.
And I think especially in South Carolina that there's kind of in
Even
the
in
legal
Story County.
and we have such a good bar that most of the time we really want the best outcome for people, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's been a blessing to be able to work with such a good local bar of attorneys, whether they're on the defense side or the plaintiff side.
Yeah. What made me want to become an attorney, I, like Tiffany, just really wanted to help people. That was my goal all along. I didn't know that it would lead me to law school originally. I actually thought that I wanted to be a teacher at one point, and tried that out. I said, no, this isn't for me. I think I need to stick with like the grown-ups. And ended up going to law school to find a way to be able to help people and give back. That was just something that was really important to me. And I did always hear the you're really stubborn, you like to argue, which is not really true. I don't think.
Okay.
But Tiffany kind of said it already. Yeah, most of what we do is getting along with people and explaining things to people, kind of walking people through a process. So it's definitely something that is just very rewarding, I think.
What about you, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I really wish I had some great reason. After graduating college, my three best friends and I worked all summer as doormen in Manhattan, and then we took like 6 weeks and toured through Europe. And during that time, one of my buddies was like, well, I'm taking the LSAT when I get back. Why don't you do that? Because I had a business degree. And I said, well, all right, I'm doing what I'm doing. So I went and took it, and it went pretty well. And then I ended up going to law school, and it was really for me a great decision, because I really enjoy being with you're dealing with something new every day, and you're dealing with different people every day. So it's really it's really enjoyable.
Of course, this time of the year, the tips for doormen are pretty good. So you
I'm telling you, that was a fun job in Manhattan, working as a doorman. It really was interesting experience.
Stories.
A lot of good stories.
Tell you what, we're going to run to a break here real quick. This is our end of the year show, so we're just talking about a lot of general stuff. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to give us a call. Phone number's on your screen, 843-848-8080. We'll be back in just a couple minutes right here. It's Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. Welcome back. It's Legal Access, being brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm, and today we have three of the attorneys from the Maguire Law Firm with us: Ian Maguire, Brittany Jones, Tiffany Buffkin, all here for the end of the year show, which is kind of I don't want to say generic show, a general show. We talk about a lot of topics within the law instead of the specific topics that we usually have from week to week. If you have any phone calls, though, we would love to get you on the air. Phone number's on the screen, so please don't be shy. Feel free to give us a call here today. We've been talking about some general stuff. Now, as far we found out why you became attorneys. Describe the feeling that you get as being a personal injury firm. What kind of feeling do you get when you help out clients and they come back and they're so happy and they just, tell you how you've changed their lives? What's that feel like?
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best. That's why we do it, right? That's like what kind of fuels you on to the next one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be, they don't always just come say that if they got some big, huge verdict or some big, huge settlement. It might be something smaller, but that's life-changing for them, or just that somebody took the time to listen and hear them and, help them pursue, some feeling of justice out of a bad situation. But I think that's kind of the thing that keeps us doing it,
Yeah, and I second that. I think that this is a very stressful profession sometimes. Even if you have the best work family and you enjoy what you're doing, I think our jobs never truly stop. It's there's always something that needs to be done, and the one thing that just really kind of gets you through all of the stress is being able to help people and seeing your efforts kind of at the end, benefit somebody's life. And like Brittany said, whether that was, is it a $1 million settlement, $2 million settlement? Like sometimes the big settlements, obviously that's a good feeling of, I got a monetary benefit for my client. But a lot of times, I've had people call and ask me questions about whether or not they have a claim, and I have to give them, bad news that you really don't have a case, but I take the time to explain it to them, we connect. And even just that sometimes, even though it's not necessarily a great outcome, but people just really appreciate that there is somebody who's willing to advocate on their behalf, or to sit down and explain to them, this is the law, I hear you, I hear what you're saying, you're valid in how you feel, and just kind of explain the process to them. So I do think that a lot of our job is actually giving counsel, and that's a really rewarding part of our job.
Yeah, and people don't come to us because they want to be in our office, right? They are in a bad situation and they need help. So it's really a privilege and honor to be able to help people. And and I think, as both Tiffany and Brittany said, that it's not always the biggest cases where you get the most satisfaction. It's just getting people that when they leave the office, hopefully they have a feeling where they were worried about coming into a law office, the last place they wanted to be, where they felt like they could talk about their problems, get their problems solved the best they can, and be listened to. And so that's sort of the culture that we have, I hope, created, where people feel comfortable dealing with not just the attorneys but our staff, and I think we are really fortunate that we have a staff that really has bought into that culture and has made that culture what it is.
I'll say, I talked to someone recently who said that Ian helped him when he was 19 years old, and he was in another.
I was 19.
This person was 19, and they had been in another accident and called, looking for help and advice, and it's no longer 19. No, it's like in
it's
his
20 years ago.
Now.
Yeah.
But he was saying, I knew right where to come. I knew who to call. I knew what to do, and I knew that you guys would hear me out. If he didn't trust you, I trust you. That kind of thing, because he really had a great experience then and knew what to do when something else happened, knew who to turn to. And I think that's kind of just a testament to the firm and kind of the long-standing tradition of being there for people and willing to take the time to help.
And it's great that you get to meet so many fantastic people in different walks of life, and it really, and the years, you say 20, 25 years. It's
Sorry.
Well, it's just a lot. I just remember Well, I was a young attorney that would literally wear glasses to try to look older because so people would take me seriously. And those days are long gone, of course. But
mine if you want.
that's how fast the time has gone. But it's been a really rewarding experience to get to meet so many fantastic people over the years. It really has. So. And
Also
hopefully
rewarding
do it for a long time.
when we have people who maybe are no longer have worked for the firm in the past, but who don't anymore for whatever reason
Yeah.
or other, but they find themselves in a situation where they need help and they call back,
Yeah.
talking about kind of the culture of the firm. And I know that that's something that we hope never happens. We hope that none of our employees are ever in an accident or need us for that. But that when they do, they feel comfortable still to reach back out.
And clients say that all the time. I hope I don't need you again. I hope I never see it, because what we do is really restricted to people getting injured or worse. So, but yeah, it's nice. Sometimes old clients will pop in and just say hi, and it's nice. It's nice to be a part of the community.
A lot of people watching probably work in jobs where it's kind of like the same grind from day to day. It's good. Is it good coming to work knowing that you don't know what's going to be in front of you in the next hour or so?
It
It's kind of like a new
definitely
adventure
keeps you
every
on your
day.
toes. Yeah.
Because I bet you're like me. You'll make the list in the morning. I'm going to get this done, this done, this done today. And if if you touch on the list, you're happy because different things always are coming up.
What happens to the list is I cross the Monday off the top and I write Tuesday, and just move it to the next day. It's a running list, right?
And the only thing different is when you have set hearings and trials and depositions and mediations. Those things, they're going to occur, but it's the other things that happen.
Yeah.
It is
during the
fun,
day.
though, I think, having different things to do each day, and there might be things that come up or things that change, and just kind of rolling with it and getting, at the end of the day, all working together to get it done, to get it all done.
Well, we asked you already, what made you guys want to become attorneys? What advice do you have for young folk out there who might be in high school right now or in college and that are thinking about maybe having a career in law? What advice do you have?
That's a hard question.
Well,
Trying to keep you on your toes.
I would start with what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Is I cannot tell you, and I've told my own kids this. I've never pushed law school or being a lawyer, but I will say, even if you go to law school and you don't practice law, it would not be a wasted experience, because it just teaches you to think differently. I think the most important thing, and the good attorneys do this, they'll sit in the chair of not their client, but the opposite. Sit and imagine if you were representing the other side, what would you do? What would you say? And it really makes your mind think differently than it ever did before you went to school and worked as an attorney. So I just thought law school is a fantastic experience. If you're interested in the law, I would encourage anyone to do. And like I said, I even think it's worthwhile if you didn't end up necessarily practicing law. What we do, I can't say enough. If I was going to practice law, this is the law, obviously, that we're doing. So it's the choice I would make, because you're representing people, and it's I did criminal law in the past, and I love that too, because you're representing people that they might have made a bad choice, a bad decision, but they need help, and their families need your help. So I don't know how you all feel about.
I definitely agree. As far as law school, I think it's such a versatile degree. It's not, if you go to nursing school and then you find out you don't want to be a nurse, maybe there are some areas that you learn that can transition to another career. But I think with law school, really the subjects that you learn, the theoretical thought processes, and I think that it's good for everybody. I think that the hard thing about going to law school is and making that decision. I hear a lot of people who are like, well, I don't like public speaking. I couldn't imagine doing a trial. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be a good attorney, because, I think that there's
small percentage.
There's a very, very small percentage of attorneys who are actually in the courtroom arguing, and representing clients and doing jury trials. So there's a lot of transactional work that even if you don't like public speaking, or you don't want to go into a courtroom, that you can definitely have a career in the legal field still.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we would still love to hear from you. It's our end of year show. The phone number is on your screen. If you have any generic or general questions as far as the law is concerned, we'll try to help you out here today. Give us a call. We'll get you on the air. So don't be shy. Got a little under 10 minutes left in the show. This is Legal Access being brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. Welcome back to Legal Access as our year-end show here as we've been doing the show for the last 15 years, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. On our panel here today to answer your questions, if you have any general questions as far as the law is concerned, is Ian Maguire, also Brittany Jones and Tiffany Buffkin, all from the Maguire Law Firm. We were talking about education as far as law a couple of minutes ago before we went to break. I think I remember a line from Animal House where Otter goes, says, "Don't worry, I'm pre-law." And they said, "I thought you were pre-med." He goes, "Pre-law, pre-med, same thing." So, yeah.
Well, I guess it was because I don't know how pre-law would really
I was an
help
English
you
major.
that much. Yeah, most people that go to law school don't have any really law background, right, as far as education.
Yeah.
And I guess there's some pre-law classes that
Yeah.
you can take. But I mean, that's another thing. My roommate was in engineering, had an engineering degree. People have English degrees. I had a business finance degree.
Yeah.
Everybody has different degrees before they go to law school. Where I think medicine, you certainly have to take certain classes in order to even entertain the possibility of going to med
It's always
school.
interesting too to see like how people's different backgrounds kind of help and play, into things when you get to law school. So
One thing that I will say, like on the educational topic, and one piece of advice that I do give to people in high school who are thinking about law school, is it is always helpful if you think that you're going to go into personal injury to take some anatomy classes.
Yes.
Do some medical classes. If you are kind of on the fence, do I want to be a lawyer? Do I want to be a doctor? Go do the medical classes, because it definitely, as an attorney, you really have to have knowledge, about whatever the topic is that you're doing. So if it's med mal, personal injury, it's helpful to know about the anatomy of your shoulder or back. So I think that that's always helpful.
That's a great point. When I was a young lawyer, I actually went to Georgetown Tech at night and took anatomy classes.
I remember you telling me that.
It was definitely
beneficial.
helpful.
Yeah.
Now, I know if you're driving around town here, you see the billboards up there that says "Be kind today and tomorrow," and also "Help your neighbors." Now, Ian, I know that's something you would definitely stand by, and that's part of the persona of the law firm. Is it? How does it feel that knowing in your position now that you're able to do that and help so many people around the area?
Yeah, well, we try to always do that, and that is, part of our culture that we don't want to treat people badly. Everybody should be treated with respect at all times, and I think we do that as a firm and to each other, and it's important. So hopefully that'll continue.
All right, before the show ends, again, I want to thank everybody behind the scenes that have helped this show go on for the last 15 years. Hunter, Scott, Eric, Lily, Erica, thank you so much for doing what you do to make us look as good as possible here up on the under the big lights. And do want to let you know that we're going to be off for the next couple of Thursdays because there's some stuff called Christmas and New Year's Day that happened on Thursday this year. We're going to be back on January 15th, so mark it on your calendar and pre-plan it in your DVR so that you can tape it in advance. We'll be back for a workers' comp show. That's going to be middle of January. We'll see you next